Toyota Hiace diesel with a 1kz with a ticking in the injector pump and won't start. So if we turn the key on, to start with there's nothing, and then as we just let it sit with the key on, the injector pump will start clicking. So it's not going to do it now. So when it does do it, we'll cut to a video where it does do it, and then if you fire it, it just fires up and dies, but it diesel knocks like anything while it does it. Hence why we've got the belt off, the belt cover off to make sure the timing's right, and it hasn't jumped, so that's fine. There it goes, just starting to tick. So when the pump's not ticking, this thing will actually run fine without the noise. But when that is ticking, it won't run. So we have just talked to our diesel specialists, and they told us that that is the timing control valve on the bottom of the pump, which will be what's clicking. So we're going to test that first. But they've also told us these are really common for ECU issues. So that's the first place to check before we jump into pulling the pump off. Show where the plug is for this timing control valve. So you've got these two here on the side, and then under that there's one mounted sideways. You can see this red and black wire going into it. So I've actually got the other end unplugged at the moment, but we're going to pull that out so that we can test it. But yeah, it goes towards the back of the motor, under those tubes going in the side, just to show where it is. Okay, so we've just pulled that plug up. We're checking just across the two terminals for an ohms reading. According to the manual, we're looking for between 10 and 15 ohms. Anywhere in that range. This is slightly low, but I don't think that's going to be our issue in this one. Okay, we're at 9.5. Moved it up to 10 and then the thing moved a bit, but yeah, that's going to be pretty close. I don't think that's our issue. So next thing we are looking at is what the ECU is sending to this. Yeah, apparently could come to ECU issues as well. So next thing we are going to check out is our ECU, and it is on the left hand door pillar behind the passenger seat by the battery there. Okay, so we are just going to disconnect our battery. We're going to pull this out, we're going to get the covers off and inspect inside it. ECU here, just take covers off, taking the 4 screws out of this side just so we can pull this back. It is ribbon coupled the two sides together. We have had a good look right over this board, every little detail, both sides, same with this board, both sides, and we do not see any issues. No signs of the solder coming off, no burnout marks or anything like that, no no corrosion. Doesn't look like it's had anything in there, any moisture or anything. All looks clean as. So after disconnecting the battery, to take that computer out and reconnecting it, this will now run alright. What I notice is that the glow plug light come back on the dash that it wasn't showing up before. So I can get it running because I've done it now by disconnecting the battery for 30 seconds and chucking it back on, and then it'll run okay for a while, and then it'll just die and go back to what it was doing before. So it is like, by disconnecting the battery we're resetting something. So I'll just switch this off, because what I want to do now is I want to scope the signal going to that that timing control valve, and see if that changes between what's playing up and when it's not. So that control valve adjusts how much fuel and when, basically, and that's why when it's playing up it's just dumping masses of fuel, which is why we're getting the diesel knock and smoke out the exhaust and all sorts. Okay, so we're going to see if we can tap into this and see if we can get a signal off it so we know what it's meant to look like when it is running, and then if we can so with it running properly, this is the wave that we're getting, and this is actually on the back wire going into that control valve. So we'll just let this run till it plays up and then see what kind of pattern we get while it's playing up. To get this thing faulting again and ticking away, and these are the spikes that we on our scope. Okay, and now it's gone to a proper signal. Let's have a look what we've got on the other side. Right, so this is the other side. We've got a clean pattern now, whereas on the other side of this control valve before, we had spikes all through here as well. So I think we're definitely looking at a computer issue. So, alright, so what we ended up doing with this is actually sending the control unit away to the electronics specialist. Although it looked alright on our visual inspection, everything was sort of indicating that this is probably the issue, and they in fact found a couple of capacitors that were not working correctly, which they have repaired and sent it back to us. So now we're going to refit this control unit and see what happens. Okay, we've got a bit more of this pulled apart at the moment because it's got a radiator leak as well, but this is with the computer back in. Okay, so glow plug lights there. Alright, so it all runs okay at the moment, no ticking from the pump. We're just going to have to try this a few times just to make sure that it stays that way, because the fault was intermittent. So as we work around our radiator issue, we will be continuing to check this out. Okay, cool, and this was a permanent fix for this. So yeah, it was just that ECU that was the problem. So once that's repaired, it all came right once we got the radiator back in and we were able to significantly drive it and test it. It was all fine. So yeah, I hope this helps you out today. Don't forget to click a like and a subscribe for more real tips from Real Mechanics.